Alrighty, here we are. Another week around the trash fire. Your host, Matthias, along with a boy.
John.
Well, John, here we are. LA, another rainy day, which is
Yeah,
surprising,
yeah,
considering we
right.
get no rain here at all. It's supposed to be all sunshine and dry desert weather. But here we are. Getting that nice rain.
Yep. You'll love
Well
that climate change.
well, depending on where you are, it's nice rain. Some
Yes,
other
sometimes.
places are not liking it.
Yes, some places it's pretty bad. Like really bad.
But we got some big news today.
Mm-hmm.
Big news. Not model news, but more in my realm, the 40k news. Some big changes coming with Ark's Omen, which was expected, but
Yeah.
who knew these changes were gonna
Ooh, do I get to rant about the boarding actions thing after praising it last week?
I mean if you want. I
Oh,
don't think I have that in here, but
we could talk about it when it's relevant.
we definitely talk about it. But it is January, and it's time to look at what the model of the month slash coin is. And that is going to be Cadia stands, and we're getting a Cadian warrior, guardsman, whatever. Just your standard guardsman. Go pick him up.
I want him.
Go help Cadia. Let him
This
know
might be
that
the
it's him.
first time I can see myself going to different GWs to get like 10 guardsmen. This is such a cool
Is
model.
there even 10 GWs
I,
around?
frick, I freaking I know. Well, I know of two that are within half an hour. Or sorry, 45 minutes. Half an hour, 45 minutes.
I mean, you gotta factor in that
Yeah,
LA traffic. It's probably like an hour, really.
true.
But yeah, a very the new sculpt models of the guardsmen.
So cool.
Go ahead and go
So
pick
freaking
up an
cool.
extra one. Use it for fodder or whatever. So we got that, and then the coin. It's just it's the Cadia coin, all shattered, I guess, because they lost their planet. They lost. They didn't stand. But there we go. That is the model of the month slash coin. Not too much really there. Obviously, it's a good model, good looking model. Since the update, but since we're on that Cadia Guardsman stride, they did get new upgrade kit. So we got more optional heads, more optional arms, an optional. I think that was the tank commander. So if you'd like to make your guardsmen even more, what's the word? Diverse, I guess. This is the kit to get.
This actually makes me want to do if I didn't have a big backlog of just kill team stuff, this makes me want to do a kill team of Cajun Guardsmen using the veteran guardsman rules because I think if they sold a box of 10 with this, it would be perfect because you would have probably have all the bits for a full kill team of veteran guardsmen, which currently uses the deathcore models. Oh, actually, if you have a box of 20 with this, then even better because you could run the full 14-man squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I this is tempting. Side note, those heads in the middle, the the
The
masked
amuleted.
heads, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Like give me a 3D print STL of those, please.
You can't be getting 3D. That's it. That's illegal.
Oh yeah,
You're
make
stealing.
similar but not the same designs.
Yeah, it's all very cool stuff. Again, I like upgrade kits. A bit too expensive for me, but nonetheless very cool to see.
Yeah,
And the
big
guardsmen need
fan.
that love for right now.
Yeah, this is so unnecessary yet so cool at the same time, in like the best way possible. Like we didn't need this, but it's so cool.
It's true, we didn't need it.
You, you also get two models because of the bodies. You can make 2 extra models
Yep.
with the bodies here. Yeah, that's super nice.
Yep. Very cool. Moving on from that, though, if you're a Warhammer Plus subscriber, you can get a gigantic pile of Citadel paints if you want. I'm just gonna shield the Warhammer Plus thing here because, again, they do raffle off a bunch of prizes for being subscribed. So praise them where it counts. So if you're subscribed, I know John is. I know another friend is. Got a chance to win a big pile of paint. Would you be happy to win this? Just out of
I actually
curiosity.
would. Out of all their free stuff raffles, this would be my favorite because I can never. I think any hobbyist can never have too many paint. Because the thing, if I got free models, I gotta build those models, I gotta paint those models, but paint is used for every project in this hobby, so I would be very happy to get some paint.
I would too. But I mean, it's not just paint either. I mean, it's brushes, it's their
Yes,
tools.
you get the brushes, you get the overpriced tools, according to some people. Still useful tools, very useful tools.
Still useful tools,
Just
overpriced
kind
tools, but
yes,
if it's free, doesn't matter.
you're right.
But yet, there you go for you Warhammer Plus people out there. Moving on, I know we're just speeding through these things, but there's a lot to talk about. Alpha Legion upgrade kit. Here we go. This looks nice. I like this.
I like it. Yeah, this would receive a high grade on John's future tier list of Legion upgrades.
Yeah, I like the helmets. The helmets are nice.
It's
It's
weird though. Some of them look kind of well. The one they previewed because of the duck shaped kind of face, which no problem with that, right? But it does look different from the front view. I wonder if the ones on the first and second row, if they're flat faced or if they're kind of Mark 6 bird duck face, like the third one is. The second row looks like it might be, but the first row looks like it's going to be a flat kind
mm,
of almost Greek helmet face, which I am all for.
I look at these. The more I look at this, the more I'm thinking, kind of looks Dark Eldari.
In a good way, yeah. Very true.
Yep. So the helmets are good. The shoulder pads are good. They have no trim, so it's an A plus in
Yes,
John's
it is
book.
A plus because shoulder pads have 2 scores in my book. It's an A+ or a fail, and it's just do you have trim?
That's all. That's all it takes.
That's all it is.
So how would you rate the set? Good.
Solid A-, B+. It's not like top 3 amazing, but it's great. If I put Alpha Legion, this is an easy pickup
Okay.
because it passes the test of it looks unique. It's not just even like the Wordbearer ones that I like. They're ultimately just Mark 6 beaky helms with
A little
design
more
like
style.
a little more style on them. But these fall under the like the Iron Hands Salamanders category of it's more different than just a Mark 6 helmet.
Right.
And with this, we have one Legion left, which is the Raven card, who I don't know how they make them special because like the 40k Primaris Raven Guard upgrades are literally just Mark 6 helmets, so I wonder how they're gonna make that special.
You're gonna give them like little wings on their helmets,
Oh my gosh,
like
that'd
little
be funny.
raven wings, kind of like
Dark Angels.
the night lords.
Oh, the Night Lords, yeah. That would be funny actually.
That's how they'll make them unique.
Make them unique that way, yeah. Right.
Alrighty then. Well, on to the big part, the meta watch.
The Meta Watch,
We don't
yeah.
really need to talk about the meta watch. We need to talk about what they dropped, which was the balance data sheet and the Minotaur field manual. So I don't know. Have you read through any of this or heard anything about it?
I a bit actually because of the whole boarding actions thing, reigniting a little bit of 40k hype, but that's dead now. But
Okay, well let's go
Yeah,
over the boarding action because I know you wanted to talk about that really fast.
yeah. So boarding action. So the rules previews because it's up for pre-order, which means the some blogs and websites have gotten the full book and they were reviewing it. So as if you don't know, listeners, boarding actions is the new expansion to Warhammer 40,000 that uses the new kill team, not kill team, the new into the sorry, the new Arcs of Omen terrain, which is the same thing as the kill team into the dark terrain. And when our gaming group saw it, we're like, oh, cool, we could play 40K with our Zone Mortalis board that we pay in for 30K. And, and a lot of people have kind of spaceship boards. So now there's some rules for that. And they do give rules in the Arcs of Omen book. They do give rules for playing boarding action missions. They have that army list we talked about last week where it's 500 points. You could take, no fast attack, no heavy support. You can only take troops and elites and stuff. So there's that, and where how things like line of sight is met, or most things now require line of sight. You can't use psychic powers over spaceship walls, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Now the issue I have, which kind of just killed our group's hype of it, and kind of annoys me, is that the Arcs of Omen missions are specific and tied to specific terrain setups.
Yep.
So it's like mission one, secure the data terminals. And instead of just like in 40K, like, oh, you could set up the data terminals, more than 6 inches from a deployment zone, 6 inches, from each other, stuff like that. No, it's like, here's a map, build this map, and put the walls in this fashion. This means you can rules as written, you can only play this mission using the Arcs of Omen terrain. Now you could obviously modify it. There's no GW police that says, "Oh, you got to use this, or we'll go into your gaming table and wreck it." No, I mean, yeah, you could modify it for your own missions, but that takes some work. Just because the missions are so specific to the terrain setups that it's just kind of lame that you need the terrain. And I was reading a blog from Goonhammer, and another criticism they had, if you have the terrain, is that the way the board is built, it's really sturdy setting up the walls and stuff. So it's modular. So you could change the layout of the walls, which is super cool. But the issue is that it's so sturdy that it's kind of hard to take the whole board apart and remake it. It's going to take some time. Now, this is like a first world problem thing. Of course, you want it to be sturdy, but it does mean that if you're going to play two missions in one gaming night, it's going to take a while setting up the board. Because first you got to set up the board, play the mission, then set up the new board. And because of the sturdiness of the mechanisms that let you block in the terrain and make it modular, it's going to be hard to mess or to transform the board. So there's that. But yeah, the biggest thing is it just kind of sucks that you gotta get that specific terrain or something, or with the specific wall sizes and stuff. And it's not just like Zone Mortalis 30K. It just gives you generic missions like, hey, this is your board size. You get these missions, etc., etc. Now, on the flip side, I will give them credit. These missions are probably way more balanced than Zone Mortalis. Zone Mortalis missions are very unbalanced because depending on the board setup, you could, for example, have an objective that's easy to get to for the defender, but it's super hard to get into for the attacker, right? It could be something like that, which would suck. While these missions are, because they're designed specifically for a specific board setup, it's more balanced. But it still sucks that like we technically can't play it now unless we get the new set or modify the rules. And that extra work just kind of, then we'll pass. We'll stick to our current Horus Heresy and Necromunda hype kind of thing. So
So I have
yeah,
a question for you.
yeah.
So you're upset because you have to buy the terrain and everything.
Not necessarily buy, but we have to either buy the terrain or modify or change the missions to suit different setups.
Now, if it didn't have the specific map set up, would it be that big of a deal, or is it still because you need the terrain, the specific
It
terrain?
it wouldn't be big of it wouldn't that be big of a deal if they just gave generic well, they did give generic rules to play missions inside spaceships. But if the missions themselves were not tied to specific terrain setups or map setups, I think that would be better, because then you could use any sort of enclosed spaceship terrain or cave terrain or something, underground terrain. You could use the Necromunda tiles that they sell,
Hmm.
or the Zone Mortalis boards that they used to sell to play 40k boarding actions. But right now, you need to get that specific terrain to play it, which is the sucky part.
I see. Yeah, because what I was trying to go with is just Warcry has those terrain cards on how you're supposed to set up the board and everything, and you got to match it as close as possible. And I'm trying to see is that any different from what this is trying to be?
Yeah, it's different because for Warcry, while it does give you a specific map setup, the rules also say you could replace the building, like when you draw the map, right, with the card. The rules actually say you could replace the building with something of similar size, and it's balanced that way. But with boarding actions, like the wall is a wall, and it's the length and width of the walls are very specific to the mission, and it's not you can't just, especially with how Zone Mortalis works, where the old resin boards are tiles, the walls aren't modular, and most wall terrain that's come out in the past few years is not modular. It's just recently that they've come up with modular terrain. Different companies have,
Hmm.
so it's not easy to modify. But yeah, that's a good point. Warcry does have specific terrain maps, but they also give you leverage on how it's set up if you have similar sized buildings and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, and even actually Marvel Crisis Protocol, they have specific map setups for missions, but it's like, here put a size 3 building here, put a size 1 piece of terrain here, not like, you know, put this length of wall here of
Put
this
this
width.
car here. Put this
Exactly, like
lamppost
this
here.
specific kind of car.
Right.
So,
Okay. Well, there was also a battle report done, and it's looking like a way of the spam little units is the way to go.
yeah, that's what I've heard. Just have a lot of activation,
Given that
clog the
one
walls.
article that GW released,
Yeah.
which I was surprised, but the guy took like I forget what it was. It was Space Marines. Was it Terminators?
Hmm.
No, it wasn't Terminators. It was a God, it's the squats. He took the Harkin.
Leagues of Votan squats.
Yeah, he took the Harkin. He, like, took the elite of the elite units, and then he said as long as the minute he lost like one guy, it was awful.
Right.
And then he said the teams that he was fighting against was like Guard, Dark Eldar, and some other horde unit might have been Tyranids. And it's just like, yeah, with the little bodies that he had, no way he could score objectives.
Hmm.
Which, from what I remember, from what I heard, I should say, scoring objectives in that game is sticky objectives. So it's not like you have to stay there on the objective and then hold it for the rest of the game. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. But I don't know. I was very on the fence with the boarding actions to begin with. Sorry, the boarding.
Yeah, boarding actions. You're right. That's what it's called.
Okay, yeah, I was on the fence with the boarding actions to begin with, and the more I hear about it, I'm like, isn't this just the kill team box they've released, but just 40k? And that, I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Right. Yeah, it's literally just 2 kill team boxes worth. Now I'm hoping with the next Arcs of Omen book they'll release more freeform missions that aren't tied to specific maps. But we'll see. Right now,
No, they're
all the
gonna.
hype
It's
we
gonna
had.
be. It's gonna be.
Yeah, maybe they'll just release bigger maps, that are still too specific, which would suck, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and from what I recall, just a few things. I know that they're going very basic on the command points in terms, or sorry, stratagems. Right now, it's just the three basic ones. Reroll. Uh, I think was it morale? I can't remember morale and why am I blanking? I'm blanking on the third one. But either way, it's just the three basic ones, and then obviously later on with the new books of omens, they're going to be adding more specific army stratagems. So it'll be kind of like vanilla 40k. Obviously, you have your special armies, but no, no digging into your book and finding the stratagem that you need to pull off to ruin someone's day.
Yeah, that part is kind of cool. I like that bit.
All right, that's all I have for that. This is a good rant there. But now we have the 40k news. And oh my. Let's start with the data sheet or data slate, shall we?
Yep.
So, what do you think the biggest news is?
So for me, because I play Space Marines, two things. One, they remove the limitation that you have to. Sorry, they remove the limitation regarding the tactical doctrines or the combat doctrines. So before, you could only be in Devastator Doctrine turn one. Turn two, you had to switch to tactical. Turn three, you could stay in tactical or switch to assault. But turn four, you had to switch to assault.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could just stay in Devastator if you want the whole game. You could just stay in tactical if you want the whole game. And it does help some secondaries. That there's one that's like kill X units in X doctrine. That'll be easier to do now. And some factions or chapters that have specific rules tied to doctrines now get a benefit. Like Imperial Fists and Iron Hands are a big one where they get bonuses during the Devastator Doctrine. So that's pretty big. But the other big news I heard is that also with Space Marines is Armor of Contempt is gone.
That is the biggest thing, in my opinion.
Right. Because it affects more than just Space Marines. Chaos Marines, Sisters of Battle, they're all affected.
They're all effective, so no more armor of contempt. So the Space Marine survivability just went down now that AP1 is now effective against them. I mean, that hurts a lot. That hurts a lot of armies too. Like 1,000 Suns, that's gonna hurt
Yep.
because that was a nasty combo to have with the 20 Terminators that I ran.
Yeah.
But that is gone. So obviously, well, not obviously. They made some point changes for them, which we'll go over to compensate for the Armor of Contempt being gone. Uh, you can probably already guess who got the most love out of that, and
Space Marines, right?
who got shafted. It is Space Marines.
Like they got a bunch of free war gear or something.
Yeah, yeah. You got it's. We'll go over it in a moment. Let's just go over the other rules here really fast.
Yeah.
Indirect fire. Uh, Still AP and BS nerf for firing at a line of sight, and the guard has now lost that has lost the ability to not have a modifier now that they have their book and other options to give them +1 for shooting indirect.
Mm-hmm.
So that change really only affects the guardsmen. It's been confirmed that lots of army supplements are gone. So I don't really know why GW is removing the army supplements when we still have about 5 more months of 10th edition. Or I mean, sorry, 9th edition. I think it's a bad call on their part. There's no way to. I'm sorry. There's no reason to remove the dead content so fast.
Right. It's kind of lame,
Yeah.
for sure.
So the people who spent $40 on the book for this edition, your book is no longer valid for this edition.
Yep, for match play.
Yes, for match play, I should say. But that is still a crummy thing to happen. Oops. Little thing dinging right there. The ability to ignore abilities that prevent wounds are also now ignore damage reduction abilities. So no more of that -1 damage. You will now take the full blunt of those wounds. So that's a pretty good change. That's gonna make the I don't know how you really pronounce this, Goldax Demon Prince a lot more nastier. I know the Guardman with a flag is gonna be a lot more nasty than he already is. Some it's gonna be nasty. Some if with that change coming through. But those are pretty much the big changes right there in terms of the core rule updates. You can highlight some Space Marines here. Obviously, John highlighted the combat doctrines. Space Marines will be getting sticky objectives. So now they can just go ahead and... Well, they can only get the sticky objectives if it's in the command phase. So they have to be on an objective in the command phase to have the sticky objective, which should be a no-brainer to get, no problem. Dark Angels kind of got nerfed. Now they have to go with the Arcs of Omen detachment in order to get their Obsect. So that's the Deathwing and the Waven Wing. Obviously points were massively changed. Point here. Let's go ahead and just look at some Space Marines. So the aggressors are down 30 points per model. Hellblasters went down 3 points. Intercessors went down points. Or no. Attack Marines went up 1 point, but have War Gear. Free. Devastators. Our guns are free now. Besides the multi-melta. Impulsors are 100. Repulsors are down to 220 with free War Gear. Outriders are down to 35. Interceptor squads are 40 points a model, including the plasma. Reavers, I mean, who really cares about the Reavers?
Yeah,
Redemptors, sorry, are 185, including the War Gear. And Terminators and Assault Terminators are now 33 points a model, including gear. So, I mean, that's just some highlights right there. Obviously, some stuff is still... Some things are stronger, and some things are still weaker due to the fact that Armor of Contempt is now gone. But overall, the Space Marines won out on this deal. I'm just gonna say that. And they got a good deal here. I'm just gonna mention the Black Templar because that's the army I play. Pretty much the only thing for the Black Templar that happened was all the characters became a little bit cheaper, and the Crusader squad went down like 3 points a model. That's about it. But then again, they're not really that big of an army, so not much there. Feel free if there's an army you want to highlight really fast.
Yeah, I mean, Black Templar is also what I play, so it'd be nice to just have points costs.
Adeptus Sororitas, because they're pretty big right now with those mecha suits. The only nerf they seem to have gotten is the Repentia went up to 16 points. Uh, point buffs, Demortifiers, 55 points. Exorcists are now 120 base, 150 with good missiles. Immolator is now 90 points and 120 with a multi-milta. So, not much change on the Sisters of Battle. There. So many pages to go through. Canicus, Chaos Marines, we're not there. Where is? Did I pass it? Custodes, here we are. Core infantry units gain obsect across the board once more. So, this does not apply to the Sisters of Silence. Regain the Esteem Amalgam, Emperor's Auspice, and Material Discretion as options can be used more than once now. So, they got that back. That's going to be a very big pain. And points buffs. The Vigilators are now 12 points, Prosecutors are 11, and Witch Seekers are 12. Those are the buffs to the Sisters. So if you care about that. Who else? Again. Oh, the Assassinorum. They all went down 10 points. So instead of being 100 points now, they're all 90 points. Which I use the assassin. I use the what's he called? The Colexis assassin. Just to mess with psychers. If I have to ever fight them. Chaos Space Marines would be the next thing I want to talk about, because they're there. So Abaddon is now 350 points. Terminators are 36 points, but don't get free gear. Legionaries do get free gear, besides the Balefire Tome. Mark of Slanesh is now 20 points. That's up 5 points. And not very much else. If you care about the Brass Scorpion, it's now 430 points, but that's still pretty bad.
Or Lords of War.
Yeah. Moving on, I'm gonna just talk about an army that I despise fighting against, and that is Death Guard. Points buffs, Plague Marines are 19 with free gear. Most of the elite characters are cheaper, 65 to the Malignifier. Some of the Boat Drone is now 115 points with free gear, and Terminators are the same but free gear. I hate them. I hate Death Guard, mainly because I fought a lot of Death Guard.
Yeah.
That is that. Thousand Suns, my army. Obviously, loss of Armor of Contempt, bad for me. Point buffs, no nerfs to my Scare Occult, that's good. Shamans went down 30 points, so that's good. Cheap spellcaster to have, because who doesn't want to have more psychic powers to cast? Spawn went down 2 points, so now it's 21 points instead of 23 points. And then some cheaper vehicle upgrades and no buffs to Magnus, obviously. So not too much on my end here. Here's a big change. I know on the demon side, World Eaters. Get these World Eaters out here. Zinch demons. The Flamers got nerfed.
Not surprised.
Not surprised, I know. Uh, according to the articles that I'm reading, flamers no longer auto hit.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes, the flamers no longer auto hit. They now have a blitz skill 3, so they have to, I'm sure it's still d6 dice, whatever, but now they have to actually hit on a 3+ with all those flamers.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's gonna nerf them a bit. Now that there's no more auto hitting, there still remain about 25 points. Other than that, lure change went down. No, lure change. Yeah, crap, hold on. I think I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Where's the lure change? Lure change went up 10 points, and the mass mutator went up 5 points. So not the best. Fleshhounds are now 15 points a model. Pink Horrors is now a group of 140 points. That's about all the highlights right there. Now let's see. Let's move down the list here. Don't care about the knights. I can quickly talk about the Craft World Eldar. Fire and Fade. Big broken stratagem for when it was back in release is no longer a once per game stratagem. Fire and Fade will allow you to do as it says, fire your shots and then run away. So that, pop out of cover, pop behind back cover so you can't be shot at. Point changes. Swooping Hawks went down. Went up to 25. Dark Reapers went down to 35. 135 for 5. Warlocks are +5, and Farseers are +5 or 10. And the D size for Wraithguard went up 5 points for some reason. So not too good on the Craft World end. And then there's so many armies to talk about. I don't really have any more I want to really talk about. I guess. Is there a specific army you want to talk about?
No, I
Or
think
you have a
you covered
question
the ones
about?
I play. So
Okay. Let's see. I want to talk about the Necrons really fast. I think this will be the last one I talk about
okay.
because I like my Necrons, even though all I have is only warriors. Uh, let's see. Point buffs, monoliths, and obelisks are 270 points, and Tesseract Volt is 360 points. Is this going to make people take it? Probably not. Necrons are now 11 points. Ghost X 115. Death Marks are down to 13. And Tomb Blades are now 18 points a model, so some more cheap, fast attack units right there. That's pretty much it. So overall, I mean, it's massive. There's like 20 armies to go over. Can't go over them all, especially the ones that I don't really have any playtime on. But yeah, huge changes coming in just before the LVL, so I'm gonna have to start relearning a bunch of stuff, seeing what combos would work. I was very tempted when I was hearing about the Flamers, the Tzeentch Flamers attack thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because since I have Tzeentch demons, because back in 8th edition, wait, when was the Thousand Suns? They were 7th edition.
When they came out.
Yeah,
Yeah, 7th edition.
Okay, so it has to be back in 8th edition because when I was working at the hobby store, Thousand Suns weren't out, and I had taken a break from 40k after the store moved. So back in 8th edition, I used to do Thousand Suns and Chaos Zinch Demons. That used to be my army before the whole Cabal point and everything. Changed my way of doing it, and I was like, I have 9 flamers. I could do this thing. But now that the flamer nerf is happening, that ain't gonna happen. Not even gonna bother with that. But yeah, that's going on. I mean, Arc's Omen is bringing back allies. So who knows what dangerous combos are gonna be happening with that. It's it's a lot. And the point changes and the free gear and everything else going on. It's definitely gonna be different, especially the armor contempt. I still think that's the biggest change to happen in this update. It might make me go back to my Craftworld Eldar. Because it was, I mean, a Craftworld Eldar was just specific. Because I run a lot of Aspect Warriors, aka Scorpions and Banshees. And since my gaming group primarily is Space Marines, all those AP1 swords and guns against Space Marines is just like, wow, I'm doing absolutely nothing. And it just was not fun to play with. But who knows? I might go back now that I can actually do some stuff against Space Marines. But I think we should move on. My final thought, I'm excited to see where this goes. But moving on to some models. The Sunday preview.
Sunday preview.
Near the end of our show here. And we're getting AOS, Slaves of Darkness. We're getting the Pitch Battle Season 2 book coming out.
Yep. Journal's Handbook.
Yep.
$50 to play missions. Yay.
Yay. Oh, you love it. Slaves of Darkness book. Looking nice. Looking nice. We're getting the Vanguard box. 17 models. This is going to be what, $110? Set.
Which battle? So this is at 150.
The Slaves of Darkness, the one with 17 models in it.
Yeah.
Ooh, steep. But
Yeah,
then again, the models are, gorgeous. So
I mean, yeah, it's so you got 10 Chaos Warriors, that's $60. You got 5 Chaos Knights, that's like 50, $60. You got a character for 25. You got the chariot for 50. So you're saving about like $30. I think the character is free, if I'm not mistaken.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, the character and half the chariot are free.
There you go. Getting that. The Demon Prince finally being sold on its own. You no longer have to buy the battle box of Slaves of Darkness to get access to him. He's coming out. The Chaos Lord on the...
Oh, side note, Demon Prince is $80.
Oof.
Yeah, and this is an example that of you're paying for the bits because there's a crap ton of bits in this kit, and I mean a crap ton. I've seen it in person, just sprue. It's a lot, but you can only build one Demon Prince, and you are paying a lot for plastic. Now, if this model was just this Demon Prince without any other bits, it would probably be like $50 because it's a pretty big model. But yeah, you're paying a lot for bits. And it's usable in both AOS and 40k. I'll be picking one up eventually because I play Chaos Marines, it's a Demon Prince. Still trying to figure out how to use it in 30k. But it's a great model, but it is $80.
Yeah, a bit too steep for me. I'll stick with my Fettuccine Prince. Even though Demon Princes and Thousand Suns not really that good. So there we go. We got the Chaos Lord on the Karak Adark. I think he's how you pronounce it.
There you go.
Krakadrak.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that. So we got that coming out. Eternus Blade of the First Prince. This is the Thunder guy, right?
Yeah, he has Stormcast magic in him, so when he dies, he comes back. He is Bellacor's top mortal lieutenant, also a dual kit with the generic Chaos Lord on horse.
I don't know why you'd ever want to build the generic guy. Just build the character. Looks much cooler. But whatever. Up to you, the exalted hero of chaos.
Freaking lieutenants coming in, just like Mar, this guy is literally a lieutenant, not even a Chaos Lord. He's just a lieutenant.
I mean, he's got the
Cool
tactical
model.
rock, so
Yes.
fits the bill. Chaos chosen.
So cool.
Yeah, these look. Oh, they look so good. Just too much trim. Too much trim.
Yeah, a lot of trim.
The warriors.
Yep, full kit with weapon options.
The knights. Looking good.
Yep, also has options.
Huh. Did these not come out already? I feel like we talk about these ogres
So
so many
this
times.
is the current Chaos Knight kit with an extra sprue for options.
Wait, I'm talking about the ogres.
The upgrades they came not on their own; they came out in the army box.
Got it. Got it. I feel like we talk about them like every time Slave the Darkness are mentioned.
Yeah, it's a super cool new unit. I
Slave
like
the
it. I like it
Darkness
a lot.
dice. Uh, are whatever. I think they should have gone
Yeah,
black and gold, but whatever. Black and
I
white
mean, if
is
this was
fine.
like $20, it'd be great, but it's probably gonna be like $40 or something.
It's gonna be $40 for 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 dice. So hey, that's more dice than what you're getting from what we talked about last week.
Black
Yeah,
Legion,
the Black Legion
$35
dice.
for 15. Ooh.
Moving on, Horus Heresy and woo, sheesh.
Yep,
Horus
I
Ascended.
like him. I'm for sure getting this guy. Not LVO, but it's funny. I called this guy to you. I'm like, he's gonna be for sale LVO, and look who's right. It's like I know Games Workshop's marketing patterns or something.
You would think so,
Yeah,
but then they would be promoting their game
I know.
with the launch of release. But that ain't gonna happen.
But yeah, so Horus Ascended. If you want to, honestly, like this is just a cool Horus model. Even if you don't run the 1,000 point version, if you just want to run the 600 point version, this is way better model than the other one. Fitting for the War Master of Chaos. Still kind of funny that. So this model represents Horus Ascended, which is Horus being imbued with the power of chaos, and he's like in one battle in the lore besides the final battle. Like and by final battle I mean we're in the ship because we are on the eve of the last Siege of Terra book, and he has yet to take the field. And the last time he took the field was, I believe, in Beta Garmin, the Titan Death campaign, as this version of him. So not a lot of Horus doing stuff besides playing like Warzone with the Emperor online in the warp.
You see, he is the War Master, so he's got to stick in the back because he leads from the back, not from the front.
He's not even leading. Like Perturabo in the books complains that he's not even directing forces. He's literally playing online video games against the Emperor through the warp.
I'll have
Which
to take your word
I
on that
mean,
one.
I make fun of him, but to be fair, like that's part of the whole battle at the Siege of Terra. Is there's the physical battle and then there's the warp battle, and the Horus is trying to weaken the Emperor so his demons on the ground get buffs and stuff, and the Imperial forces get a bunch of debuffs. Actually, I'm half joking, but also like this that's what happens. As the books go on, he weakens the Emperor on the psychic plane, which means demons can manifest and all that. It's just kind of funny that he doesn't get to be on the field, besides having this cool design, cool model. But yeah, awesome, amazing model, best Primarch model probably until now or so far. So
I would say it's the best Primarch model I've seen at all, even in the 40k range.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is way he is better than the other Primarch models in
Yes.
40K for sure, and I really like those models.
Yep. Well, let's move on from that. Thousand Suns. We already complained about that. Trash. The Ultramarines.
Worst trash.
Yes, even worse.
At least 1,000 Sons of a Tiara.
True. Uh, White Dwarf coming out. Want to get that? I don't really see anything interesting in the book. Black Library. We're getting Garo, the Knight of Grey limited edition book. I assume
Yeah,
this
this is
is the
gonna be
start of the Grey
interesting.
Knights.
I'm excited about this because this will tell us if Garo dies or if something, because we know Mortarion survives his encounter because Mortarion gets banished in Warhawk, but we don't know what happens to Garo and he doesn't show up in the other books. So yeah, I don't know what happens to him.
Oh, okay. Good to know. I'm still marching my way through the Horus Heresy right now, so
There you go.
and then Southback and audiobook as well. God Eater's Son coming out in softbook and digital, and Godric Toothslayer coming in softcover. And then we're getting Dan Amnon's Armor of Contempt, God's Ghost audiobook coming. And Warhammer Plus getting Angels of Death's Origin. I think the second episode? Yes, the second episode. So, lots of stuff. Lots of stuff coming around. It's a lot. A lot to go through. Moving on.
More stuff.
More stuff. Because we ain't done. Entering a new season with the boarding patrols and battle force. So, I know we had our rant about the boarding patrols, but now here they are. Here they are marketing it to us. So we got the Space Marines, which is, what is this? 10 assault intercessors, 3 or 5 heavy intercessors, and then a captain. I want to say
Yep, Gravis captain.
Gravis captain, and then Chaos is getting, freaking Abaddon, 10 Chaos Marines, and 20 cultists. I mean, is this even fair?
I mean, right? The cultist swarm will win the day. These are cool sets, even if you don't care about boarding patrols. This is going to be a deal, and it's cool because combat patrols are a good deal, but they're also $150. So this is a good kind of a cool, cheaper way to get in to get some Warhammer models, especially if you're starting out. Like if you're starting out Space Marines and you don't want to start with Indomitus, you just want to hop in with having a small force. This is perfect. Say for Chaos Space Marines, you got 20 cultists if you don't play Black Legion, 20 cultists, 5 Chaos Space Marines, and you got the War Master himself. Good deal.
I think the Space Marines won off on this one, like they always do, just because they don't have a special character.
Name character, yeah, that is true.
So 10 assault intercessors, iffy on that one. Iffy on that one, but it's still pretty good deal. And then Chaos gets the Battle Force, which is going to have a Helldrake, a Demon Prince, Possessed, and Terminators. Now, I forgot to mention something on the data slate. They did change how aircrafts work. So now you can have up to, in a 2,000 point game, you can now have up to 3 aircrafts. where I think it was only 2, if I recall. I don't run aircrafts, so I don't really know. But 2,000 points, you can now have 3 aircrafts. But aircrafts can now only come in on turn 2. They cannot be on the board turn 1. So there is a big nerf to starting damage there. Helldrakes have not been in a good spot since 7th edition, I would want to say. So an inclusion of a Helldrake in this army, or this box, kind of questionable. But if you wanted a Helldrake, here's a battle force for you to pick up.
And you get the new Demon Prince, which is super cool.
You get the new Demon Prince. You get everything's pretty much new in this box except for the Terminators. So, and the Helldrake. So I guess half the things in this box is new.
Yep.
But worth it. It is what, 10 possessed. So
Yeah, I mean everything here is pretty great besides the Helldrake. So
yeah, the Helldrake is probably the only thing that brings this box down. But there you go. Chaos is getting a Battle Force pick up. Why not? Pick this up. Pick it up with the Battle Force. You have a pretty good.
yeah, this is a good next
Or,
buy from the Combat Patrol.
did I say Battle Force? I meant Combat Patrol. Pick it up with
Yeah,
the Combat Patrol.
there you go.
And you'll have a good. She's probably. I have to look at the Battle Force again, or sorry, the Combat Patrol. You'd have a pretty good 1,000 points, maybe 1,500.
Oh, if you get this and the Combat Patrol, yeah, you could probably that's a good 1,500 point list. There.
Yeah, Abaddon's like 350 points, so you're already at the 1,000 point mark. So, yeah, pick up if you want to. Possessed are still nasty, but you do have to combo them. So there is that. Moving on, we got good old Ashwace Necromunda. We got a bug and a man.
Instant purchase for me, just because again I play this faction. Also, it's super cool. Like straight up, this is a great sculpt. Love the paint scheme. Love that the guy's chain lance doesn't have a chain. It has like a piece of chitin from the bug. That's dope. Yeah, this is excellent. You will definitely see this in a Necromunda campaign for the new year.
It looks nice. All the Ashwace models have looked pretty stellar, except for the one last week. Like, the monsters were cool, but the guy wasn't that cool.
Yeah.
Very cool models. And that is it for Warhammer. Did you want to bring up the other news, or?
Yeah, so Star Wars Legion, Moff Gideon's rules were previewed. So if you look at him here, so he's he's a new commander for the Empire. Pretty cheap, 100 points. So let's go through his card really quick. So first he has 2 command slots, which is for command upgrades. Very important, I think. This is one of the more valuable valuable upgrade slots. You got the training slot, also super good. You have a gear slot, which is common, and you have a weapon slot, which is for the dark saber. Now, the dark saber, let's just go through that really quick. It's a 5 black melee weapon, 15 points, not cheap, not too expensive. It gets demoralize 1, so you're throwing out suppression tokens to dudes nearby, and you get immune pierce against enemy lightsabers. Impact 1, pierce 1. So, it's a chill upgrade. I think it's worth slapping if you expect him to be in melee. Going through his rules, he has the observe 1 rule, so that is it's a free action. So pick a unit, I think within I forgot the range of it, but essentially you pick a unit and it gets observation tokens, which gives you they're kind of like mini aim tokens, so you get to reroll dice for each observation token on them. So it's a free actions. I like that. Get entourage Imperial Dark Troopers, so you could include an extra Dark Trooper unit, ignoring the Force organization slot, and you get to issue a free order to Dark Troopers within range one, or if it's range one or range one or two. But it's really good. That means you kind of have to auto include Dark Troopers with them because free orders are very powerful, and he has a command card that gives an ability to Dark Troopers, which we'll talk about later. So there's that. He has the Ruthless rule. So what it does is you pick a friendly core unit and a range 2 and line of sight. You may if it has a face up order token, you can suffer 1 wound to perform 1 free action. Now this does not let you shoot twice because it's a free action. You can only do 1 attack action per turn. But you could suffer a wound to move. This is really good on snow troopers. You get that wound, but you get to move for free, and which gets you closer for your flamethrower. If you want to get an aim token, so you get double aims on your stormtroopers or shore troopers just to get some shots in, or if you just want to, you need to cover some ground to get to an objective. With this rule, you can move a unit 3 times in a turn, or you can do 3 move actions in a turn, which can get it pretty far.
That's crazy.
Sharpshooter one, what's up?
I said that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean you suffer the wound instantly, no saves, but again, you that's a free action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get sharpshooter one, reduces cover by 1 when he's shooting at something. Tactical one, he gets an aim token when he moves. That's a really good rule that he makes no sense why he has that, but hey, I'll take it. So in melee, he has advanced combat training. It's just 2 red dice, and he has a range 2 black, 1 red, pierce 1 pistol. Yeah, he has surge to crit, which is really good, and he has surge defense. Does it have surge to defense? Darth Vader doesn't have surge to defense. Yeah, that's pretty tanky. He has 5 health, pretty standard for a commander, red dice, and he has courage 3. That's really important this, I guess, edition because of the suppression rules we talked about a few casts ago. Because you'll need 6 suppression to suppress nearby units, which could win you games, right? It makes units more resilient in holding objectives.
Yep,
So
yep.
so far, what do you think, Matt? Just looking at his card since you play this faction.
Um. Well, I mean, I have. It's been a while, but
Mhm.
I think he would definitely replace my current commander,
Fears.
Beers. Yeah.
It's fun. It's funny you mention that because a lot of people say that like this guy just kind of just does a better job than Veers of being Veers, which is supporting his army.
Mm-hmm.
And his gun is pretty good with tactical. That's you move to get an aim token and then you just shoot something. I mean, you're not going to be wiping squads with it, but you could get some wounds through with Pierce one, Sharpshooter one, and Surge crit.
Yeah. Now the
And
question would be, would I be running him with Vader, the special,
it's a good question. Oh,
or
with Operative Vader,
yeah, operative Vader?
I think so because I mean, you're gonna need an officer or some commander for Empire anyway, and he's like 50 points more than an officer, and he's like 20 more points than Veers or 10 more points than Veers.
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah. I think the utility of what he brings, the Observe one and the Ruthless, is really good. And honestly, the Courage 3 thing, this edition, that's important. You slap the one upgrade that lets you increases your courage bubble to range 4, and then you don't need to worry about your dudes panicking off objectives.
It would be nice.
Yeah. And with the dark saber, he makes a good linebacker, and just in case there's an Anakin or some Magna Guard going into your lines, or a Darth Maul, he can hold his ground with immune pierce, right? I mean, he's not going to beat them, but he could tie them up for a few turns, whereas most commanders would just explode instantly against a force user.
So yes, to answer your question, I would pick him up. Yes.
Yeah. Let's go over his
I
command cards really
know
quick.
I know he's a Disney Plus thing, and I've never watched any of the Disney Plus stuff, so I don't really have any familiarity with him. But
That's fair.
going with his stats, yeah, he's pretty good.
There you go. Going over his command cards really quick. So as one pip die at my hand, he gets relentless, and relentless is you get to make an attack, either a melee or shooting attack after you move. He gets one aim token and one dodge token. Yeah, that's a good kind of if you need to get somewhere and smack something with a dark saber, because with tactical, if you move twice, you get like three aim tokens because you get the aim from this card. You get the move, and the two moves give you aim tokens because of the tactical rule. So going in melee with three aims just in case you need it, right? Or
Right.
you could shoot something, move twice and shoot something, and you get the one dodge token just in case. Yeah, it's I wouldn't build him as a melee guy just because of this card. It's a good just in case he needs to go somewhere and smack something. That's a good card. His two pip, you have something I want. So it's 2 units. It's just over two units, and it's interesting because you can't choose it for the first turn because of the next effect. So this card doesn't give you any abilities unless you issue an order to Dark Troopers. So you pick a friendly Dark Trooper unit with a face-up order token, and then you remove that unit and deploy it anywhere within more than range 2 of an enemy, and then they flip their order face down. So this lets you essentially deep strike Dark Troopers. Now you may think, oh well, the Dark Troopers that use this lose an activation. Well, remember, Dark Troopers have that rule where they get 2 activation tokens per turn. So you could play this card, deep strike them, right? And then when you draw them from the bag, they get to do something. So that's super powerful, actually. Also, because of entourage, you don't need to use this. If you have one Dark Trooper unit, you can use this card to issue orders to different units to get some order control, and then you get the free order from Moff Gideon himself to your Dark Troopers, and you could deep strike them using the ability. That's super good.
That's super nice. I'm definitely gonna use it.
Yep. And then moment of consideration. This one's kind of face value is it's neat, but honestly, playing clones fire support is really powerful. So what this card does is you can issue orders to 3 core or heavy units, and they get the fire support keyword. So fire support, if you have the fire support rule and you have a face up order token, if someone else shoots of one of your units, you could flip that token and add all your dice and weapon keywords to that shot. So now it does sacrifice an action for you, but it lets you just add a boatload of dice to an attack. Now imagine like a unit of stormtroopers, right? They throw if it's a full unit with a heavy weapon, you're looking at maybe like 8 white dice or something, 9 white dice depending on the weapon. And then another unit supports them, that's like 18 dice. And if you feed the unit with aim tokens, you can get a lot of good hits there. And this also gives the fire support role to heavy units. So if you have dark troopers or an ATST or something, you can add their dice to the pool. Now again, if you do fire support, you lose your activation, but again, playing clones who have this a lot of units with this rule, just being able to throw 15 to 20 dice at something, you could delete something really quick. Like last game I played, I Anakin with saber throw one shot at Boba Fett because he was supported by another clone unit. So I was throwing like 10 dice, and with that many hits, and I get the pierce from Anakin's lightsaber. He couldn't really, couldn't survive that.
So
Um,
wait, does the effects carry over as well? AKA, you just said pierce. So
Yes, so because Anakin has pierced 3 in his lightsaber, that whole pool gets pierced 3. And I believe if the pool also has special rules, like the supporting unit also adds that. So if the unit I had impact, that attack would also, or if the fire supporting unit had impact, then the whole pool gets impact. So yeah, essentially you're sacrificing an activation to throw a lot of dice and try to delete something quickly.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That reminds
it's
me of Seventh Edition, 40K.
there you go. Yeah. Yeah, so in a good turn, I wouldn't play this turn 1 because things are probably out of range. But like turn 2 or 3, when you got more units in range, and you just want to throw a boatload of dice to kill a unit, that's a good card for that.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty.
Yeah, so that's Moff Gideon. He's really good. Like he's almost power creepy good because of how good he is. like you mentioned, he's just better at Veers. I mean, Veers isn't useless. Like there's some builds that Veers really likes. Like if you go vehicle heavy, Veers is good with that because he has some vehicle support cards and he has those aim token generation. But just as an Empire commander, like if you're running Dark Troopers, you should just run this guy. He's really good.
I see. I see. Like I
Yep.
said, definitely gonna pick him up though.
Yep.
Still no
He comes
release date though, huh?
February, mid February.
Mid February. All right.
Yep.
I'll have to.
And he will also come with a new Battle Force formation, Imperial Remnant. We don't know what it does yet, but we know he's going to come with that. But you don't need him to run that Battle Force to run him. You could include him in any Empire army.
Alrighty then. I cannot wait to see what happens.
There you go. Hopefully this week
Now,
we'll be getting Dark Trooper rules. What's up?
the battle remnant, that's not a box. That's just like a formation, right?
It might be, but all the boxes come. The rules are free PDFs on their website. So
Got it.
like there's the Blizzard Force one. There is a Blizzard Force box, but if you have all those units, you could just include them. You could just build an army from them.
Got it. All right
Yep.
then. And that's everything, right? No more
Yeah,
other
it's
news here.
non Warhammer news this week.
Alrighty then. Well, I know we've been talking for a while, so let's just quickly go over hobby rants.
We rants.
Hobby wise, it's raining. I don't want to be in the rain,
Yeah.
so I didn't meet up with my gaming group because we play in an open garage and not trying to get sick.
Yep. Totally understandable.
So what I did was, I know a few months I mentioned that I bought a bunch of Gundams, so I just decided to just build a Gundam this week.
There you go.
So that's pretty
What'd
much
you build?
all I did. The Samrock Gundam.
Oh, from Gundam Wing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good kit.
Yeah, so I finished building that. I'll post some pictures up later up on like Instagram or something. But yep, I just built that. And I was like, you know what? I did good today. And I didn't
Nice.
do any other hopping. But I do have the new, not the new. I do have my converted Chaos Spawn and that I need to get ready to paint and get
There you
those
go.
up and running. And I gotta figure out if LVO is going to be using Arcs of Omen, which I'm sure they will. Which means I gotta refine my entire list again and figure
Yay.
out what I'm gonna need to take, which shouldn't be that hard considering I didn't see any points drops for the units that I'd be running. So except for no. And all the units that I'm running are pretty much didn't get touched. So gotta figure out what we're gonna do. What about you? What have you been up to?
I've been hobbying on my word bears. Just painting some possessed dreadnoughts and regular dreadnoughts. Also have finally airbrushed what I need to airbrush for my LVO list for Blood Angels, which are 10 heavy support marines and 2 dreadnoughts. Also airbrushed my Sikaran tanks just because my airbrush was set up. Might as well get that done, get that base coating done. So gonna probably work on that this week. Try to finish that before LVO. I'm not worried about it. I think I could finish those
Hmm.
as I say that, and then end up working on them like the week before or something. But or the night before. But yeah, so working on that. Played some games. Played a game of Horus, 2 games of Horus Heresy over the weekend. First game I played against Imperial Fists with my Mechanicum. Super close game. Blew him away at shooting, but once it reached melee, it was more of an even fight. He was running the Phalanx Warders Rite of War, which gives them reroll invulnerable saves to their Storm Shields or Boarding Shields. They're essentially Storm Shields because it's a 4-up invul. But yeah, super tough to crack. They weren't very killy, but just grinding me down with those power axes and the survivability. But it was a close game. Super sad though that my Praetor, who I ran my Myrmidon War Priest cult Rite of War, so my Archimagos Tech Priest was more combat focused,
Mm-hmm.
but he died before he got to swing because he is at a lower initiative than the enemy Praetor. So that was sad, but it's okay. He did a lot of shots. It's funny because that army has so many plasma and like dark fire lances that I think half the wounds dealt were dealt by myself to my own army, just failing all the gets hot rolls.
Really?
And I have my Thanatars who could do D3 wounds to themselves to shoot twice with their pie plates. And yeah, of course I'm gonna do that. So yep. That was kind of fun.
Mm.
Ended up it was funny because at the end of the game, for primaries, we were tied, like 2-2. But for secondaries, he got Slay the Warlord, and I got Attrition, which is kill more units. And they give you both D3 victory points. So that whole game ended up leading to a roll off for G3 victory points. And we both got 1 point, so it was a tie.
You hate to see it happen.
That was kind of funny. Yep. Fun game though. And then afterwards, I played my buddies Iron Warriors with my Mechanicum list again, and kind of blew him up, tabled him. Like, well, I killed half his army in 2 turns, and he surrendered because he was going to get tabled. It was pretty nasty.
Sounds like a bully move, John.
Yeah, I know, right? It's okay. He was playing Iron Warriors. They're pretty nasty too. But I was like, you know what? Here's some pipe plates, and here's some plasma and grab and all that.
Nasty, John. Nasty.
Pretty nasty. Telling you, Tau and Necrons combined, you get 30k Mechanicum. It's great.
Well, right
But yeah,
then. Probably no show next week. I do have to go out of town for work. So, you guys will probably see us in 2 weeks. Unless something happens where I don't have to leave. But I'd like to thank everyone making it to the end of this cast. And we'll see you next time.
good everyone.